Hey, hi, this is Chit Chat. So I just wanted to talk a little bit, a little motivational talk, you know, because, I had that weird dream and then I woke up thinking about all kinds of things. I don't know if it was connected to the dream, but it was in my mind, like, um, I'm pretty proud of myself, you know. I'm pretty proud of the fact that I was able to release myself from some pretty heavy addictions. Yeah. I have family members who couldn't do that, who have actually passed away, even. And it's, I'm going to be honest with you. I want to tell you the secret to that. First of all, I have always believed in God. I may not have dipped into the Bible. I may not have had any specific religion I go, but I have always believed in God. I have always, when I was talking to myself, I wasn't being crazy. I was talking to God. I knew that's who I was talking to. So I've always had some sort of belief in God, and all my life, because I've had that, it's also given me a conscience, right, to not do bad things to people, because I know God is watching, regardless of the stories and whatever's in the Bible. I always knew God is watching. Be careful. I was always a believer in karma too. Okay. I'm looking because I noticed that I didn't tie this side. It's okay. The other side is tied. So that's one thing. I've never not believed in God, right? I never really went to church, any kind of church that I understood, but I always knew that God existed, right? I was just never really too into it. But when I had those addictions, it was because of trauma, right? Everybody goes to addictions for trauma. I spoke to a woman that I know who works at my dad's shop, and she smokes pot, and she's like, oh, I smoke pot and I don't have... No, that woman is traumatized. I already can tell. Because of how she is, how she acts, what she's dealing with, how she's dealing with my dad. That's trauma. I smoke pot because I like it. We have a lot of people out here who smoke pot because some people, they have medical conditions. They have anxiety and those things. It works for a lot of things, glaucoma, just a number of medical things, right? But mental health stuff, which is anxiety and depression and stuff, smoking pot is not going to help you heal from those things. It's going to just have you stay being that way. I used it. I'm not against it, okay? If you're using it for, because at one of these days you plan on stopping because you plan on tackling these traumas, okay, it's good. If a medical professional says you need to be on that in order to keep your eyesight, or to, something that's physical, then you keep doing it, okay? But when it comes to mental health, a lot of the times that mental health trauma, it needs to be tackled. You need to tackle that. And if you're around the people who have traumatized you in your life, you're not going to heal from that, because you're going to be still with that toxic energy. Like my whole family was pretty much toxic. I tried my best to keep in touch with them and try to have them in my life, but every time I went back, it was like there was more trauma, or they were bringing up trauma of the past, instead of, boosting me up and motivating me and making me want to do better, they try to keep me down. So that was the first thing I had to figure out. I had to figure out, you know what? I don't need to take this anymore. I don't need to be around that person, because they don't make me feel good. They don't motivate me. If I need help or ask for something, they're either get mad at me or whatever, you know, and this is family I'm talking about. Okay, even borrowing a couple $100 from my dad, or you know, something like that, and promising, even writing a note, I will pay you back, and I have always paid my dad back, where I have brothers and sisters who have borrowed a lot of money and have not paid him back. Also, my dad putting down payments on cars and things for them, and they still haven't paid him back, yet I have, and I was treated like dirt. You know what I mean? So that's how you should recognize, if things like that happen, you should recognize that, and you should see, like, you know what? This person does not like me. They just do not like me. That's my own father. And so I figured that out, and I was like, you know what? I don't need to be around that. Why would I try to fight? And my whole life, I was fighting for my dad's love. It was pointless. It was pointless. And so I came to realize that, though, you know, part of my going and using drugs was because I was constantly trying to make my dad happy, and I couldn't, right? Same thing with the marriage. Constantly trying to make my ex-husband happy, and I couldn't. And I was being abused physically, mentally, financially, all that stuff from my ex. And one day I just realized, you know, like, I'm out of here. You know, they said a few words to me, and that was my ticket out of there, and I left. But you know what? It left a lasting trauma on me. I didn't know at the time, but I had to figure it out. And then what happened? I went to drug use. You know, the traumas led me to using drugs because I stopped loving myself. I felt like nobody loved me, nobody cared about me. So why should I care about myself? So that's what happened. You know what I mean? Until, you know, one day I figured out, you know what? I got to get away from here. Because I kept getting into toxic relationships even after that, with other people using drugs and all that stuff. That wasn't good either. You know, I did meet a person who was absolutely the worst person that I could ever find to be a boyfriend. But I'll tell you what, that person taught me how to love myself. Even though he did terrible things to me, not my ex-husband, that's a whole different trauma. But this person really trashed me out, you know, and it made me realize, like, you know what? I don't need this. It was kind of like God put all the bad traits of every terrible individual in my life into one person. And that person just trashed me. I even moved I moved from California because I knew I had to get away from that. But I loved that terrible person so much that I ended up moving close to Missouri. Not close to him, though, because I wasn't sure, right? I got myself a house somewhere else, and that person lived somewhere else. And, you know, I did meet up with that person, but I could only handle him for 1 week because I felt those toxic feelings again. And after a week, I was like, you know what? You have to go. And so he left, and I never saw him again. Okay? There was communication since then, but I was like, you know what? I'm good. I don't know. There's no more of us anymore. I will never let you hurt me again, blah, 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 right? So that ended that, and that was good. And I had to spend a lot of time alone, you know? So the main thing here was I had to get away from all the toxic people, places, and things in my life. It's hard to do that because they were the only people I had. Yeah. Woo! It's windy. Some gusts will be up to 40 miles an hour. That's why I kind of want to leave early too. But, you know, the trailer's it's pretty heavy, so it's not going to, you know, oh, I hope not. I pray to God it's not, you know. But, we just deal with this for right now, you know. I have some things that are blowing over the camera, but it's okay. But that was the main thing I had to do. I had to get away from all the toxic people, places, and things in my life. Even though I went towards the most toxic person, I only needed 1 week to figure out, like, nope, I don't want this person in my life. Because between moving from California to Missouri, I went through a little bit of something, you know what I mean? I wasn't using the bad drugs anymore. I had no choice. When I walked away from California, I walked away from everything and the drug use and everything. I I'm not the kind of person to go up and ask for drugs or be like that. You know what I mean? I was getting it from people I knew over there. So later on, as I left, when it was done, it was just done. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up in Missouri, and I had to be by myself. I did do the tarot. The tarot helped a lot, you know, just from the stories that came out, right? I have never seen, you know, any tarot reading story actually come to fruition, not from me or any other readers out there. So I can't really tell you if anything works, even though the readers say that, oh, it's everybody's got a different timeline. Who knows? I have never seen anything come to fruition. And those stories are meant to resonate and in hopes that somebody's worried about you. They're thinking about you. They're going through karma. Like, who really knows, especially if you have no contact, you know? So you can't really base what's really going on in your life on the tarot. But good stories come out, and sometimes those stories will resonate because sometimes somebody has already been through that. You know what I'm saying? So I did use the tarot to hear these stories and hear the advice of the readers, and me realize, like, yeah, you know what, I love myself. I don't care what the other person's doing. Self-confidence, I am enough. You know, those kind of things, you know? And so that helped me. And also just being by myself and thinking, talking to God. I have a lot of religious texts that I was reading. I kind of put that on break for a little bit. But not talking to God every day, though. I talk to God every day, right? I don't look in the Bible every day, but I talk to God every day. I always say how grateful I am for this beautiful day. Even though it's all crazy windy like that, I still say thank you for the beautiful day. Thank you for the life. I'm grateful for everything I have. Just, you know, speaking it out into existence, you know? And that's what's important, you know? Like, you got to have some kind of belief in your life, you know, at least believe in something, right? Whoever it is, you know, God, the universe, you know, the divine, whoever you say, you know, however you, it's always good to have some sort of faith, you know what I mean? Because something created all this, right? Even if we're not alone in the galaxy, something created these other galaxies too. So there is one that created everything, you know, it has to be, right? And I believe in the teachings of Jesus, you know, even though the story of Jesus is not fully there, I believe that, you know, Jesus was telling us that, you know, we should always pray and be grateful and be kind to others and this, that, and the other, right? And so that's how I try to live my life, you know? I've also, because I've healed through a lot of things, I've also been fortunate enough to realize, like, toxicity around me and to just get away from it, right? I've been very keen on people who are lying or who are being deceptive, so I learned a lot of that from the past. And so I just move along, you know, like, I found it very comfortable to be by myself, you know. Well, I have my doggies. If I didn't have them, I would be very lonely, you know, but I have found peace in being by myself, and I quite enjoy it, you know, because there's no one telling me what to do, you know, because everybody in my whole life has always been trying to control me and tell me I need to do this, I need to do that, you'll never go here, you'll never go there, you'll never do this, and always down talking me, you know. I don't even want to be around anybody if that's all they're going to talk about, you know what I mean? I don't want to be around anybody. I prefer to be around somebody who motivates me, you know what I'm saying? Who says, well, you know, give it a try, maybe it'll work, you know, or somebody who likes me for me, not for what I have and not for what I do, but just me as an individual, you know what I mean? So, you know, I guess I have some pretty strong boundaries nowadays, you know, but, you know, the main thing is if you are going through something and you know that you have some sort of addictions and stuff, and you're thinking, like, you know, I'm getting tired of this, you got to get away from the people, places, and things who also have those addictions or who make you feel a certain way. You got to get away from them. And I know it's real hard if it's family, and if you have some sort of codependency on them, you got to figure out first how to release that codependency, which means, you know, get a job, save up money, something to get you off of your codependency from them. And once you do that, then you can separate yourself from those people, places, and things, and, you know, start new. You know, even if it means to leave the whole state. That's what I did. You know, you could always look online and see what kind of jobs are being offered in different places. You know, I said just stay away from the big cities because you're just going to find more toxicity there. You know, I try to stay away from the big cities. The little cities are okay. The big cities, I don't even want to go near them. You know, and like when I find a place somewhere, I want to find it in a nice little town. You know what I mean? I don't want to go anywhere where it's busy. I don't want to go where there's a lot of people, flashy things, flashy people. You know what? That's just not my style, anyways. I kind of like the country. I kind of like, you know, what did somebody say it was the easy life or easy living, or I don't know. It's just a life where it's just nature. You know, nature doesn't judge you. You know what I mean? So that's all. It was a little motivational talk. Just try to give some ideas for anyone out there who's trying to overcome something or to try to find more peace within. You got to get away from, you know, the hustle and bustle of too much around you. You know, if you're around in the city and you're around a lot of people all the time, you can't even hear yourself think. You know what I mean? It's better to get away from that. You go into nature, you got plenty of time to think, plenty of time to ponder, and plenty of time to be grateful and thankful for what you have. You know what I mean? So that's all I have. This was Chit Chat, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.